folks, we'll open up with questions over here to the right. Austin Ward, the podcast.
Ryan, it felt like maybe the most complete performance of the season. I don't want to take anything away from Penn State and the toughness of that game, but offense, defense, special teams, everybody made plays.
Yeah, and there was a challenge set out in special teams. We went back and changed some stuff on personnel. We felt like we had something on, in the punt block. We put Cade and Mitch off the edge there, which was, we felt like a good matchup for us in that moment, put a lot of work into it. But then those guys have to go execute it, and they did. And we felt like, especially in the first half of this game, coming off the emotional win of last week, that getting a special teams, either steal a possession or big play, could jumpstart us in the game. I thought it did.
Over to the left, Rob Aller, Columbus Dispatch.
Yeah, Ryan, this re-engineering of the defense, or whatever you want to call it, really looks like it's effective, moving guys around. I thought that your DEs really, played well, JT and Sawyer.
Yeah, I thought JT and Jack were both very disruptive, and certainly the forced fumble and scoop and score was the epitome of that in this game. But like you said, it starts up front, and I think Tyleek was available. He could have played, but we felt like we were going to hold him unless we really needed him. Plan on getting him back for next week, full go. But it was good to see some other guys step up and have to get in there and play. And it's everybody across the board. I thought the DBs were solid in coverage. I only think they had I don't know how many, 9 completions. So anytime that happens, 3 sacks, you get in the backfield, it makes a big difference.
Well, go ahead, Rob.
About it. What exactly, or did you talk about the changes on the defense? Or was it be more aggressive, or what was the major change?
Yeah, I think to the naked eye, there's it's not like we redid the whole thing, but when you start from scratch, there's just certain things that you either make assumptions on, or you have to make sure that you're putting the right guys in the right place, and all it takes is a little bit to be off, and when you add these little things up over time, they can make a big difference. And I think the guys are understanding that. I think they know how they can go win a game, but then we have to have the change-ups, somewhere along the game to keep people off balance. And so without getting too technical on it, I think that, we have the right people in the right spots. I think we're getting lined up faster and getting set, getting our cleats in the ground and being more aggressive on the perimeter.
All right, folks, we have Lathan Ransom. He just moved to the back, and I do apologize for that herd of crickets sound we hear in the back. Over to the right, Dylan Davis, Delaware Gazette.
Ryan, Edric earned the start today, the first of his career. What have you seen out of him leading up to this that allowed him to get that start, and what did you think of his performance just from the naked eye?
Yeah, I have to watch the film and see. He's really flashed for us, making the move from defensive end into 3 technique. And he has a lot of ability. He is active, and he's young, so he's going to have to continue to learn. He's going to make plays. He's going to make some mistakes, and he's got to grow up quickly because we need him. But I think his future is very, very bright here at Ohio State. I think he can be a very, very good player, and I think he could be a really dynamic 3 technique for us.
Over to the left, Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
Ryan, you've talked about the number of weapons that defenses have to cover on this offense. When Emeka has 1 catch, the running backs are getting involved, but you still have a day like today. Is that the epitome of kind of what you're talking about, of trying to take one thing away and then other things open up?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons to go no huddle. There's a lot of reasons to huddle, and when we're huddling, we're not getting as many plays. We're getting, we ended up with 66 plays, and then, our starters are pretty much out there in the fourth quarter. So there's just not as many plays as there used to be. So a big part of this season is understanding that, the touches and the numbers aren't always going to be as high as maybe in the past. So guys like Emeka and Carnell, they understand that, and it's not always easy. You want to have an impact on the game, but their time is coming. These big games are coming. As we continue to move through November, and we're going to need them to play at a high level. But we're looking for that combination, obviously, of being explosive on the perimeter, downfield, and then obviously in the run game. And we need everybody involved with it. And a big part of that is being unselfish. It's a big part of when we go into November, we have to have an unselfish offense and defense. But when you're on offense, there's only one football. And we got to do everything we can to win the game. And good to see Emeka get that touchdown. But here's a guy who certainly he wants more touches. Any receiver does. But he's not a guy that is going to be selfish and make it about him. He knows the bigger picture on this. He's a captain. one of the best receivers in the history of Ohio State football, and I know the fans appreciate who he is.
Over to the right, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Ryan, last week, Will had an up-and-down game against Penn State. It looked like today he was probably exactly what you wanted in terms of no mistakes, very solid. Is this the kind of performance you want to see from him week to week?
Yeah. He made some nice throws today. He took care of the football. We did have the one sack that we'd like to throw away there, but then he came right back and made 2 nice throws to get us back into it, which was huge. I thought the second and long throw to Jeremiah was great, and then obviously the third down they came with 0 pressure. I think Trey did a great job of picking it up, and then he found his hot answer right there. So those are the things that are important. But yeah, we're going to go back on the film and figure out the things that we got to continue to clean up and get better at across the board. It wasn't all clean today. It wasn't. But I thought guys played hard. And again, good to see us respond coming off an emotional win. You watch it all across college football. We've been a part of that too, where you come off an emotional win like that and you have a letdown going into the game. We're in November now. Like every single snap matters. Every play matters. And that being said, I think some guys took that opportunity in the second half, some young players, to use those snaps as an opportunity to make a name for themselves, because we're going to need depth as we continue to go through November. We've already seen that. So, good to see us respond coming off an emotional win last week.
Over to the left, Doug Lesmerises, Kings of the North.
Ryan, just to double back on the punt block, is there something you guys saw on film that you adjusted to, or you just wanted to get Mitchell and Caden on that same side? What was the discussion this week?
Yeah, we like the matchup with those guys on the shield. When you look at the shield, they were a little bit smaller body types. We felt like we get them to move their feet, that we had a chance to go after it. We thought both Caden and Mitch, do that for a living. They can rush the passer, and then they slithered their way through the shield, and at the very least put pressure on it. But we felt like that was a good matchup with those bigger body types on the shield. And so usually we have smaller guys that are on punt return, but we felt this was the good matchup. We had been working on it for a couple weeks, and it was good to see it hit early in the game.
And the TV showed you celebrating with Rob Keys after you guys hit that. You mentioned steal a possession or make a big play. I mean, especially when you're in tighter games. Have you guys been having conversations about that, maybe especially after the Oregon game, where you can steal something that might swing a game for you?
Yeah, and we put a lot of work into it. I mean, a lot of work. So, we need to start seeing results. So we did make a few adjustments. I think you saw Travion back there at kickoff return. We didn't quite get what we wanted there. We've used, Caleb and Brandon back there at return. So we moved some. We saw a couple of guys run down a little bit different on kickoff. Denzel was a gunner for us, or a jammer for us today. So we're moving some pieces around to try to put our best guys out there on special teams, because we work at it. And maybe we haven't always had as many opportunities. Just like you've seen last few weeks, you've seen a lot of punts. We haven't really had an opportunity to return them. Put a lot of work into it. But yeah, it was Rob kind of organizes everything, but Brian Hartline's in charge of the punt return and punt block. So good to see them make a difference in this game and change the game. It was something we were really hammering this week. We felt like we had something there, but you got to go do it. You got to go put it on the field. So it's good for those guys to get that done.
We're only going to have a couple more questions for Coach. Over to the right, Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
Right, you're talking about some of the stuff you're doing on special teams. It looked like on defense you guys were trying some different stuff than usual as well. Just kind of match that balance of trying to throw new stuff out there to see what you can and can't do versus also getting young guys an opportunity to get out there and get on the field and get some experience.
Yeah, and when Tyleek wasn't available, we felt like we wanted to try some different things and look at some different packages. We'll keep building on it and evaluate it and see what worked, what didn't. But we felt like this was a good opportunity to go, try some of that stuff, some things that Jim's done in his past, and we'll keep looking at it and see if it fits.
Over to the left, Cameron Teague Robinson, The Athletic.
Ryan, kind of off of that, there's not a lot of places where you can try new stuff like that from Jim's past in the middle of the season like that. How much does it help when you have so much experience that you can add some stuff, and how does that help add versatility for the rest of the year?
Yeah, it could be a real weapon for us, and like you said, it's not easy to experiment when you're in certain games, but we felt like it's something that we had done previously with Mitch. We had done it previously with CJ and with the guys, and so even going a year back, they at least had some recall on it and film that we could watch to get better at, and there's a lot more that we can build on from there. And so, again, it's got to make sense. It's got to fit in the right spot, but we felt like it gives us a little bit of a different wrinkle.
And final question, Tim May, Letterman Row.
Yeah, thank you, Jerry. Poor Chris Carter, he can't defend himself. Obviously Jeremiah Smith went by him again today on a major freshman category. And then number two, I wanted to ask you, Ryan, how important was it, like you said, the punt block and a couple other things, to get something out of this game other than a W? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I absolutely know what you're saying. Yeah, I think the first thing was like coming off of last week on emotional win. Like, how are we going to respond? Are we just going to kind of flop around in the first half and then it gets into the fourth quarter, like maybe happened a couple weeks ago, or are we going to come out and be aggressive early and establish the line of scrimmage and get a turnover? So that was good. It also is good when you emphasize making a difference in special teams. You heard me talk about that this week. I think somebody asked me in the press conference, and I agreed with them. It wasn't a plus for us, and so that was the challenge. And so to get that punt block is good. It's good for the momentum. Meetings will be sharper, walkthroughs will be sharper, practice will be sharper when you see the impact it can have on a game.
Great.
Yeah, Jeremiah. Yeah, I mean, you guys have seen it, and now he's going to have to play his best because he's got a lot of it on film and. We're in November now, and so all those matchups are going to matter. But he's getting stronger. He's getting more experienced. He's understanding of coverages and different things, and so we're going to need everybody though. But great to see him break a record.
Great, Coach. Thank you very much.
Yeah.